What is up? Wade here, Poke Bard TCG. I'm sitting in a Lowe's parking lot right now, about 15 minutes early for a little meetup that we'll talk about in a second. But I'm excited because we hit level 4 in TCGPlayer in 17 days. So that's really cool. So phase 1 of the business was we just had to hit level 4 on TCG. And now I'm going to do a separate video that's going to go through all the numbers, like how I did it, what cards I bought, what sold, how much money it cost, and then my thoughts on it, so that if you want to do it, there's no real need to rush to do it. Like, I wasn't in a huge rush to do it, like I wanted to compete with anybody. Like, I saw like Flip House did it, and he did it in like 20 days, and I was like, I gotta beat Flip House. Like, I like that guy, he's really cool. I follow him on Instagram, but the thing was is that I just wanted to get it done so that I could just move on to the next phase, right? And then you still got to wait. So you have to wait whatever it is, the 10 or 15 days for everything to clear through, for the 51 sales to clear through. And then you get access. So I don't have access to any of the pro seller things yet. I don't have access to any of the tools or anything. But when I do, then phase 2 begins, right? And so phase 2 is why I'm sitting here in this parking lot at Lowe's. Feels like I'm about to do a drug deal, where I'm getting 6,000 cards, Pokemon cards, bulk, right? And so this is my second bulk purchase. My first bulk purchase I got off Facebook Marketplace. This I got off a Facebook group. So those two things actually work. And I'm paying a little bit more for this than I wanted to. It's still within total acceptable ranges. It's not like it's just like an amazing deal, and I guess I'll have to wait and see. But the first group I did, the first batch that I got of 3,000 was really good. So we'll talk about that also in a separate video. So, but I'm excited because this was about 6,000 cards, and then that's going to get me, with this purchase, the first purchase, and then I'm going to just pull everything from my personal to get to my personal kind of leftover bulk, will get us to 10,000 Pokemon cards, right? And then so phase 2 is we want to get 10,000 Pokemon cards, 10,000 Magic the Gathering cards, and then list everything. And the reason why we're going to list everything on phase 2 is because the way that I look at it is two things. One is that the inventory, if you can have the space, which is like 20,000 cards, obviously I can keep that in my garage. So I'm not like, I need a million cards. So that's I don't have an inventory concern. But Pokemon is, if you look at it as an asset, it's going to grow, right? Its worth just gets more. So even if stuff doesn't sell now, like let's say a card's worth 5 cents, maybe it'll be worth 10 cents in a year or whatever. So this is a long-term play, because obviously I'm building this business for my son to say, hey, do you want to run this business and teach him business through the sales of Pokemon cards? And then if he wants to take it over, he's 8 years old. So let's say he takes it over when he's 18, right? 10 doesn't say, Dad, I don't want to go to college, and then a big fight with my wife. And but 10 years from now, these cards will all be worth a lot. So inventory is good for me, because I have a very long-term goal. I'm not interested in like flipping everything right now. And then also I'm gonna have a floor price. So, and I'll go more on my thoughts on this, but like I want to have as much a wide digital inventory as possible to attract people to the store. And then each person that buys from me, even if they buy something small, is a potential viewer for the channel, right? And so that's the other benefit, which people don't think about, is that if you put a promotional material in every sale for your YouTube channel, right, which is within guidelines, because you're not sending them to a different website to sell than TCGPlayer, but like a YouTube channel, then you've bought a viewer, basically. And if you can break even on it, or make, obviously we want to make money in every purchase, and we're going to price everything so that we make some money in every purchase, even if it's like a little bit of a amount of money, but you get a viewer, then everything starts to snowball over time. So so I'm excited about that. I'm sitting in here, I'm about to text this guy and tell him that I'm here, but I don't want to be like, I'm a freak, I'm here 20 minutes early. So I'm here about 10 minutes early. So about 5 minutes I'll text him. But yeah, so the takeaways from phase 1 is that it was interesting to see how things changed just within the month that I was kind of like doing things, right? So it took me a little bit to get the cards that I wanted to sell, and then when I started listing them on the Friday, like immediately started making sales. But then all these level 4 sellers came in, and with the way that it works, and how you list for shipping, is that you can't, it won't list you lower than the level 4 sellers unless you subtract their price minus your sale price, right? And so you have to be $1.49 cheaper than everyone else on the site to get listed first, right? And so it really impacts the margins. Whereas like for the first, I would say, week to 8 days, like the first half, I didn't have to do that because I was able to find listings where there weren't any pro sellers. So I could just be like, well, what do I have to break even on this card minus the 149? And then I could just list that and then and I was making money on some cards too. But I didn't really care about making money. I just didn't want to like take a bath, because I said, hey, if you would pay money to become a level 4 seller, would you do that? And I'm like, yeah, I would skip the whole process and I would just pay to do that. So that's how I viewed it. I viewed it as an investment. And now that that's over, that phase is done, excuse me, I get a real sense of accomplishment. So, and one thing about this business, or any business, is that there's a lot of like, especially since I'm starting with bulk, there's a lot of tedious time. And so you want to be able to get wins. And so like, all right, phase 1 is done and that's a win. So I'm excited about that. So I'll do some longer videos, obviously. I'll do a specific video on what I did to get to level 4 in 17 days. And then I'm going to do a specific video on like bulk, my view for phase 2. But the goal, just so you know, is 10,000 Magic the Gathering cards, 10,000 Pokemon cards. So for $20,000 of inventory, and then list everything on TCGPlayer. And then once that's all done, then just kind of see, like, then start to get feedback. Like we're gonna price a 20 cent floor, at least that's the plan now, and at market price. And then we'll just kind of see what happens and get some feedback about what's the pace of these sales. Do we throttle it up? Do we throttle it down by the pricing? Do we make things more expensive, less expensive? But again, my only goal is to get to everything bought and listed, and then take a breath, because actually I'm really enjoying going through all of the cards, because I don't know anything about Pokemon cards at all, and very little. And so literally another benefit of listing 10,000 cards is that you're touching a lot of cards, you're looking at them, you're figuring it out, you're learning things like ancient hollows are, always are different than the normal hollows in a set. And then like you have some finds, like I found like there's Pokeball hollows that are like, oh, these Pokeball hollows are worth a lot more than these regular hollows in a certain set. And then and I didn't even know there was a difference. And then like, oh, what's a Cosmo hollow, right? So you learn all these. The only way you learn all these things is literally like looking at the card, trying to find it on TCGPlayer. And then like little hacks, like don't type in the name of the card, just type in, the number 0001-165 gets you to the card like 95% of the time. So that's a big time saver for when I'm looking up the price. And I also realize that if you're going to list everything, you don't even really need to look up the price, right? But so once I get all this 10,000 in, at some point, I'm still enjoying looking everything up. But in terms of like figuring out what things are worth, but at some point it doesn't make any sense to look up the price if you're going to list everything and you have a floor price, because everything will make you money on your inventory either as it appreciates or over time and just sits there, or just your floor price. So it doesn't really matter if something's like, oh, this card's a penny, just make it floor price. Why can't I say, am I having a stroke? God, I hope I'm not. No, I'm okay. So I hope we don't have a stroke in this Lowe's parking lot. So anyway, so I'm excited. So Luke and friends, thank you for watching today. And also too, it's I'm fired up to be able to kind of do like a man on the street in the car with my wife's car. She's getting a new Pilot soon, because Beatrice, this car has 145,000 miles on it. So I'm buying her a new Pilot here in a month or two. So, but as I borrow her car, you get to see the excitement here. But no. So we're gonna definitely be able to do an episode a week. So that's cool. So even though it took till Friday this time, I was so busy this week. But yeah, an episode a week. So I'm excited. So next week I'll probably go through the TCG. I think next week will be the TCG to level 4 video, and then the video after that will be the bulk video where we're at on that. Okay, great. Well, good to see you guys. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you guys again.